just started doing some quick role play inside Lasco's head since he's
Yeah.
alone on a in a medical bed being treated by I'm guessing you. I'm
Mm,
guessing
right.
Dr. Tall. So since it's just let me make sure, yeah. Since it's just in the hospital right now, it's just you, a bunch of NPCs and Lasco. We can go ahead and start doing a little bit of role play here and there, and while we wait for the others to show up, if you want.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Cool.
Lasker's fully unconscious,
Yeah,
so
he lost conscious. You managed to Doctor Tall managed to stabilize Lasco and get him to the hospital, but he lost
Mm.
consciousness on the way. Whether it's through transport or whatever the case may be. And now he he's experiencing. Make an insight medicine roll real quick, but as far as you could tell just by looking at him, he's experiencing some kind of internal struggle. He's like moving around a lot, although he's unconscious, and he has ripped some of the preliminary, the stuff the little foam stuff that sci-fi doctors use to coagulate the blood to keep it from running. He's managed to split it somehow, so now he's bleeding profusely again. And of course, you remember there was poison on the end of the knife, so he's got that to deal with. But
Mm.
so yeah, depending on what you roll for your insight or reason, medicine, either one, it will depend on what you know, but also how to fix it.
Okay.
And do you want to use a tricorder, or are you just you looking at it and using your what you can see?
I'd assume, yeah. I mean, I'm a doctor, so
Yeah.
tricorder would be
Okay.
obvious.
Yeah, so just do reason medicine. I'll say the difficulty. So this is gonna be a scale difficulty. So if you get, one, then you get some information. But if you get five, then you get like his entire life history and every little detail of what's wrong with him, and you instantly, not instantly, but like within a reasonable amount of time, can figure out what to do to fix him.
Okay.
And you're at zero momentum, and I have eight threat. Because as far as I know, there's only four people coming today. So
Right. Right. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not gonna buy any new dice because that's gonna increase the threat. So
yeah.
probably not a good idea. Let's see. So okay. Yep.
Oh,
There you
nice.
go.
So it
Good
doesn't give
first
you
one.
any momentum, but it does give you a lot of information. So number one, yeah, you can tell just you know how to recognize when some versus someone even visibly without the tricorder, you know how to recognize when someone's sleeping versus when they're in a coma versus when they're just unconscious. And like you can see his eyes rapidly moving, so you know he's in some kind of state to where his brain is actively doing things. Um,
Mm.
so you know if he's in a coma, which you don't think he is, you just think he's unconscious, but you do know he's dreaming, or at the very least, his brain is working on something, working on some kind of internal problem or internal struggle. Um, you also know that because of his moving about, his he needs surgery basically. He needs the wound closed, but beyond that, you know that he's been poisoned with um, a pretty standard Cardassian poison that they use on their blades sometimes. And this is an old Obsidian Order trick. Really, it's an old spy trick. Spies of every species use this, but this specific kind of poison is more. I would say if you had the ingredients, it's easy to treat. It's a matter of just replicating the ingredients and treating it. And that's pretty much what you know right now with that roll. I will say
Okay.
that this poison usually, if left unchecked, will course through his blood and kill him in about 6 hours.
Right. So first and foremost, we need to get rid of the poison.
Okay? So if you look at the Roll 20 page, I'll give you an idea of what you got. You have Eli Kasim or Kasim that can help you with anything. So if you just want to say, hey, go get this instead of having to take the time to do it, then basically he'll go and do that, and it will be. Or you could do it and have him assist. It's however you want to do it. Um, if and these two, the ones in the corners, are security guards. So obviously, someone that's just been stabbed is going to have security. Then there's two more security that's right outside the door. Um, this Bajoran man is the chief medical officer. He's a full commander, and he's the chief medical officer of this base. And the Ramyon hasn't showed up yet, so don't worry about her. All right. So yeah,
Hmm.
if you want to just tell Kasim to go replicate it, he will. If you want to do it and have him assist, or if you want to do it, however you want to do it, yeah, excuse me, however you want to do it is fine.
Okay, so I will tell Eli to go replicate, and I will move to the chief medical officer of this facility.
Okay, he's just
Uh,
walked
uh,
in, so you can talk to him
right.
freely.
Okay. Yeah. So I will look at him and I'll say, I might need your help here. We might have to pull our resources together in order to save this man.
Of course,
He's
of
uh,
course.
he's apparently been poisoned, and the poison is spreading. So we have to work fast.
All right. Well, this is you've been handling this patient longer than me, so I'll assist you. What do you need me to do? And just so you know,
All right.
Kasim walks back with the antidote,
Right.
and you guys now have one momentum. Or not the antidote, but the ingredients for the antidote. You now have to make the antidote.
Right. Okay. So I will look at the chief medical officer and I'll say, well, first of all, we need to make the antidote. That's our primary objective for the time being. So,
With all due respect, Doctor, he's losing a lot of blood still. I think that should be our priority. We can always administer the antidote orally or through an injection after.
very well. How about we split the work then? I will work on the antidote while you stabilize his bleeding.
That
Is that
sounds
a good
good.
idea? Very well.
Would you like Kasim to assist you or me?
He should probably assist you. This is not something that Eli can do.
Okay.
That is poison or the antidote for the poison.
Okay.
It's not his specialty.
Understood. So Kasim nods to you and moves over, and the two doctors or the two medical professionals begin to work on Lasco. So I'm going to have Dr. Tall roll a control medicine, difficulty 2 to make the antidote. I am going to roll for the CMO and an assist for
Okay.
surgery.
And I will use a talent, Healing Hands, which is for control medicine, reduce the difficulty by one.
Oh, nice. So that reduces it from what, 2 to 1?
Yep,
Awesome.
basically. A minimum of one, so you can't go below one. So,
Gotcha.
all
All
right.
right, so the good news is they've managed to once again stabilize Lasco. They've used a laser scalpel to kind of cauterize the wound finally, and actually, clean all the poison that they could visibly see. And they've repaired the tissue that was torn by the blade, and so that's good. You didn't get any momentum from it because the surgery was a difficulty of 3, but he is now once again stable. You did get a momentum for your manufacturing of the antidote, so you're up to 2 momentum.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you make this antidote, and the best and easiest and quickest way is put it in a hypospray and inject them with it. That doesn't require any kind of roll if you want to do that.
absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
So I will look at the other guys in the room, uh, and I will tell them to basically be on watch if anything happens. If this goes bad, let's try and inject him.
Okay. Um, so Lasco, in your head, as you are standing in the promenade of Deep Space Nine, where you grew up, you look around once more. Your father is still standing there, and he looks up into the stars outside the porthole at the wormhole that just magically stays open. And he turns to you and he says, "I think they've got it. I think they're gonna save you, son."
I think so too.
He turned.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
he's looking at the wormhole. I've always liked looking at the wormhole when it was opening and closing
He
when I was younger.
nods. He nods. He says, "Son, I don't know what's gonna happen. Hold on, let me just. I'm gonna post something. I don't know what's going to happen today or tomorrow but I will tell you that there was a time where your mother did love you, and perhaps she still does if she was ordered by the infamous to kill you. Although I don't know why the infamous would care about you. No offense, but I don't want you to give up on her. I know what I sound like saying that. You know, a Bajoran trying to tell his son that his Cardassian mother is not a psychopath. Like I understand what it sounds like. You know, it's hard. It's hard for me to say, but she did love you, and I can't believe that she would just go out of her way to hurt you like this unless there was a real reason behind it. So hopefully, whatever that reason is, you and your friends can find out.
Hopefully I can, or the reason why.
All right, so Lasco, roll me a fitness medicine. A difficulty for this is one. You have momentum. You have two momentum if you want to spend. Hey, Durlock, we're just doing contained role play. There's no we're still starting at 6. We just wanted to get some of the individual stuff out the way.
I
Uh,
assumed that's what was happening.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
Either luck.
all right, so you got a 3, or you get 3 momentum, and yeah, Lasco, your eyes begin to flutter open. And Eli Kasim and the chief medical officer kind of, you could tell, Lasco can't tell, but Dr. Tall can probably tell that they're like restraining their celebration. Like they want to be like yes and jump up and down, but
Mm.
they just inhale very deeply and move forward and put their hands on Lasco's shoulder and the chief medical.
Relax, gentlemen. This is just another case. Don't worry.
Eli
Just
turns to
take it
Dr.
easy.
Tall and says, "You were great with that antidote."
Of course. Thank you.
All right, so real quick, um, Durlock, is there anything that Doctor or that Lieutenant Commander Taylor wants to do or say to his wife? I think she was Andorian, right?
Yeah, she's Andorian.
Okay, because I'm gonna say that you once you got back on the Solar Ring, you basically immediately went to see her, knowing that she was going to be assigned to the squadron as well, and you guys have temporary quarters and stuff.
Okay, well, I would probably be spending time with her in our quarters.
Okay, let's see. Sorry, just waiting for my brother to leave. So, I'm gonna try to pronounce her name. Relisle, is that it, or is it pronounced some other way? Let's see. I'm gonna write it out. That'll probably be easier for me. Vrel, Relisle. Yeah, that's pretty much what it. So she turns to you and you guys are just having a normal conversation, catching up. I mean, you guys probably haven't seen each other for a few weeks at least since you were put on the investigation. But as you guys are just having your a normal conversation, um, the lights around the room begin to brighten. So like normally, not brighten. Sorry, that was a basically you have your normal lights on the ceiling that are just white, and then along the edges you have your red alert or yellow alert lights. Well, the yellow alert ones begin to slowly brighten and pulsate slowly. Um, they don't go full red, thankfully, but they do. The amber, the yellow ones do come on, and she looks up and she says, "I wonder what that could be." And you look over and you just happen to see on the laptop on the desk there is a red flashing light that's kind of blinking quickly, which means um, basically a security priority one message has just come in for you.
For me,
Yeah.
hey, Taylor here.
Um, when you access it, it is a standard kind of security report that is broadcast to all security personnel. It's not live. It's basically a recording, but
Okay.
it says all security personnel be under advisement that there has been an attempt on Lasco Zed's life. The perpetrators have been detained in the brig, and that all security personnel are now on duty and to patrol the solar ring. And then there's like an addendum after that that it clearly is not meant for the rest of security, but only for you. And when you play that one, it says, Lieutenant Commander Kyle Taylor, you are hereby put on temporary leave until the investigation can be complete.
I would turn and look at my wife. Well, I have some free time.
So more than likely, what they're doing is they don't want somebody who knew the victim to
Yeah.
be involved with the
Uh,
security.
yeah, and he understands that. That's why he's like, well, I have some free time.
Yeah. All right. So hello, Neil. Welcome.
Hello.
So it looks like this is everybody because D-Man, who plays Salak and Trask, he did a thumbs up and a thumbs down as far as being able to come today. Kat never knows, and who's the other person? Josh. He messaged me and was like he wasn't able to make it. So it looks like it's just the four of us or the five of us. So that's fine. But so, if I remember correctly, from Jita and Weber's point of view, the conference had just been called to recess as everybody kind of. Oh, hello, River. The conference had just been called to recess, and everyone kind of split for a non. If I remember correctly, a non-specified amount of time. So Jita and Weber would both pretty much go and be able to, there's refreshments like you basically in an auditorium kind of area with a giant table in the middle. So there's like lots of refreshments around the place. There's people gathered in cliques talking. There's people that are leaving, going to their temporary quarters. Like you guys are pretty much free to do whatever you want. However, Jita would definitely notice the security has definitely ramped up. Um, as far as just the general security on the base. There are literal security officers running to and fro. Klingons, Romulans, there are Starfleet Marines running to and fro. Basically, every type of security that you can imagine is just running around on this base. There are some that are standing guard in various key locations, but they look very anxious, and you can also tell it probably wouldn't take any kind of insight roll to tell that there are a few security personnel that give you a dirty look, which working for the infamous, that would make a lot of sense. But yeah, so what is Jita and or Weber? What are they going to do in this time off?
Oh, I hadn't even thought of Weber.
He was in the meeting with Jita. He was
yeah,
suspiciously silent.
As I was just playing Jida, essentially. Oh, heck. Let me
It's
think
fine.
about Weber for a bit. But
Yeah, no problem.
Jida, I think, is probably going to spend. Probably going to be spending some time just looking up. Looking up what the Federation news outlets seem to be putting out.
Okay.
And seeing what that's doing and stuff.
So, strangely enough, the last major event that the news outlets are putting out is the assassination attempt of the Laeranek ambassador and Weber. So far, nobody has spoken of this new assassination attempt, which I mean makes sense to an extent. Although this solar ring is not strictly a strict Starfleet base, it is primarily run by Starfleet, so they would probably keep a lot of the the details close to the vest. The one thing that you do notice though, and everyone who is in the auditorium, the conference room would notice, is that Captain Bratham is immediately kind of ushered away from the table that everyone was at, and kind of secreted away by Secret Service agents along with Vice President Jake Sisko, from as well as like three or four admirals. And they are all basically kind of taken out of the room and kind of secreted away down the corridor and kind of disappear out of sight. Like even if you follow them, like at some point they eventually just disappear around a corner, presumably transported somewhere. Um, but yeah, so what about Weber? What's he up to?
Can you give me a bit to think about it
Sure, I'll go
and
to
go to some of
Mac.
the others?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mac Tennyson, after your commander Tennyson, the Romulan, after everything's been broken up for recess, what is he up to?
He'll probably go back to his ship.
Interesting. All right. So how does he get there? Does he just hit his communicator and be like, "Hey, beam me up," or does he go? Because it's right now it's orbiting, it's not docked, or does he take a shuttle?
He beams over.
Okay. So he transports back. Does he want his father to go with him, or is he just gonna kind of step away and secretly disappear?
He offers his dad an opportunity to go back if he wants to.
Chairman Till kind of gives his son a look and kind of he says, are you sure we should be leaving at a time like this? I feel like with things going on, we might want to stay where there's a lot of security."
Okay.
I mean, if you want to go, I'm not stopping you, but I'm just saying, I don't know what's going on. All I know is suddenly there's a bunch of security running down, and you guys would know that nothing has been locked down yet, which usually either means the perpetrators are being caught, or they're for whatever reason Starfleet is just not worried about anyone getting away. But yeah, so he's basically he doesn't want to leave, but if you want to go, then he's not going to stop you. He tells you he'll be here when you come back for the last half of the meeting.
He goes, I'll stay.
He narrows his eyes at you and he moves in closer and he says, "Is there something that you need to tell me, kind of off the record, or?" He's trying to figure out why you suddenly want to stay.
He goes, I don't like being around more infamous people than I should.
He inhales and says, "I definitely can understand that. Like I said, if you want to go back to the ship, there's nobody there that I know of that works for the Infamous. So, I mean, you're more than welcome to. The ship is yours after all. If I see anything around here that I think you might want to know about, I'll let you know."
He goes, oh, have you seen Mum lately? Or heard from her?
He shakes his head and says, "Not in a little while. You know how mothers can be. They want to worry about you when you're away doing your job, but then when you want to talk, they are busy. So it's just, you know, well, after all this is taken care of, we'll get back up with her, I'm sure."
Yeah. Tennyson is going to be constantly watching everything around him.
Okay. So he's not going to the Charbonnet?
No, he's extra suspicious of how many security people are around.
Roll
One,
roll insight security. It'll be a scaled difficulty. The difficulty's not going to be as high as the medicine roll earlier. It'll probably be I'll say 3. In this case, there is 3 momentum. But even if you just get 1 success, you'll get some information. But it might not be very useful, but it'll be something.
he has a talent constantly watching.
Okay, so it's reduced to 2 then. Yeah, he is a Romulan. It makes sense. He's always looking around.
Yes.
And I'll actually have his father assist because his father is, obviously also Romulan, and also the chairman of the Tal Shiar, so it kind of makes sense.
Yep.
All right, so what do you got? Wow. All right, so we got a total of 4, so that puts it to 5 momentum. Oh yeah,
Nice.
this smells like the infamous power. Why are you saying nice? You're working for the infamous power. But this smells like something has gone wrong, and it's probably the infamous involved something to do with the infamous. Bratham being kind of snuck away probably indicates that he's off to find, or to at the very least talk to the woman that was kidnapped by the infamous. So hopefully that's a good thing. Um, is there anything that Jito would give to just a visual or an auditory, cue to some very vigilant Romulan security officers?
As in, just as they're going by and
Yeah,
stuff,
just
you
kind
mean?
of like, not anything that, she's thinking, but more just like, if you happen to be looking around a bit more than the others, or if you happen to be overly curious about a certain situation or certain thing, just something that would be obvious to the out to either, the visual or the auditory.
That they would see that I'm looking at them and stuff type thing, do you mean? Just to clarify.
Or just anything that would be outwardly kind of. Because, like, besides empaths, Romulans are probably the most insightful when it comes to, like, security and their immediate surroundings. Like, they're probably going to be the most um,
That's
insightful.
because they're naturally paranoid.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just want to know if there's
Yep.
anything outwardly that Jita would be doing that would give herself and you don't have to tell them like what she's doing or why, but just kind of, or not what she's doing, but you don't have to give them like anything that they wouldn't see or hear, just
Yeah.
something that they would visibly or auditorially be able to see or hear.
She is very on purpose humming tunes that are linked to the different cultures sat around the table.
Interesting. And is this a you know what?
It's part.
Yeah, go
The
ahead.
main reason she's doing it is pretty much just to see who spots and how they react.
I figured it was something like that. But you know what? Just out of just because I think it would be interesting. Let's do a presence roll for that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do. Let's see. Let me look, because I don't know if it should be command. Probably not command. Maybe command. Definitely not security. Um, that's the problem with disciplines. It's like they need one that's just like art. Well, you know what? Since there is something behind it that is kind of a diplomacy, a reason behind it, you can use command. It'll be presence command. Um, and I'm going to actually spend momentum to increase the complication range by 2. So if you hit a complication, you offend one of the species that's here. But as long as you get at least 1 success, you're good.
Did you say complication is 2 or 3?
Just bump it up to 2.
2.
Yeah. 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 Right.
And can I use my focus in reading people?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be good. Yeah, I think that because you got to be able to read them to know how they're going to react to your
Yeah.
whistling tunes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so command and presence, you say?
Yep.
Cool.
Oh yes. I was hoping. So the good news is you don't like you're not overly offensive to any specific species. Um, and they don't pick up on the fact that what you're doing is like an intentional way of trying to like lull people.
Goad. Yeah.
Right. However, the complication is that let's see, who are you sitting next to? Ooh, I know. The Breen it's actually the leader of all of the Breen, so it's not just an ambassador. He kind
Yeah.
of he between you two is Crusher, but he kind of looks over at you and says something, and the universal translator basically indicates that although the musical tune that you're whistling is technically a song that they would have on their homeworld. It also represents kind of like I wouldn't say a threatening stance, but more of like kind of like a war song. So like it to him it seems like you're kind of trying to make yourself amped up for like how Klingons sing war anthems to get themselves ready for
Yeah.
battle. He thinks you're like, and so he's overthinking it, and he's like, oh, so you want to go to war with somebody, but he hasn't mentioned if it's with the Enduring Alliance or if it's with the Kelvins. So you've got that going for you, but he is kind of taking it in a more aggressive way than maybe you'd intended.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, and have you figured out what you want to do with Weber? Because I figured something out if you haven't.
Yeah, I think Weber is probably going to be researching the territories that are near the infamous that they have been showing the most interest in, as being able to sort of maybe just go, is this something that we could compromise on, or work out something that appeases them about those areas and such. So it's basically just research going, what other demands might they throw potentially at us, because they're playing this and
Right.
stuff for advantage.
Okay. Roll insight, command, or security difficulty 3. There's a couple reasons why it's kind of difficult. One being is that the infamous power Dren clones are notorious for being unpredictable and kind of just
Yeah.
doing things because they wanna, like blowing up Ryza. There was no reason to it. They just felt like it. And the other reason is because they're all over the place. Like their territories are kind of spotted within Federation space. They had Nausicaa and Orion and Suliban until they were liberated, quote unquote. So like they're all over the place. They don't really have a word like the Breen where it's like we've got the Western Hemisphere. We're just gonna stick over here, and the Romulans are like we'll have the northeastern side. They're pretty much scattered, kind of like the Federation, where they're just everywhere. So it's gonna be kind of difficult to see where um, their next conquest might be.
Because this is also looking in an angle of maybe strategies of things that could be offered. Can I use my diplomacy focus?
Yeah, sure.
And I will buy a dice as well. How much momentum do we have? Because I'm obviously happy to give to threat if
5.
people prefer to save momentum at the moment.
Yeah, you got 5, so you should be good.
Okay. Right, let's go.
Nice. All right. So the good news is you got your momentum, so you're back to 5 momentum. Bad news is you have a complication. So I'll tell you what you figure out, and you can decide if you want to get rid of the complication with the momentum or keep it. So honestly, it looks like a kind of holding pattern. It looks like the infamous power is waiting for something to happen before they make any moves. And it very well might be this meeting that you guys are in right now. Because they haven't attacked, like, you guys, the Federation or the Enduring Alliance, specifically the Vulcans and the Romulans, have liberated Nausicaa, Orion, and all these other, cultures from the Infamous Fire. They haven't made any moves to retake them, which is really weird. So it's like they're waiting for something, and they're not trying to, spread themselves too thin.
Okay.
do have something I'd like to do with Taylor. I've been trying to get your attention subtly.
What's up?
Like just when you're done with the current scene or when time permits, I just wanted to let you know I do want to do something with Taylor.
Well, yeah, go ahead. I mean, unless Weber has anything specific they want to do with that information.
The only thing I am thinking of doing is maybe, I just double checking who is, because obviously I know Riker is sort of obviously pretty significant in leading things, but he's sort of more. Is he? Would I be right in saying he's sort of more mediating stuff and such in some way?
Kinda. He's in charge of Starfleet Tactical, so basically anything involving tactical, he's going to, or strategy, war, kind of, everyone's here to fight the Kelvins more or less. So he's kind of here to kind of facilitate, yes, diplomacy because he's a Starfleet admiral, but also like, okay, great, we have a treaty now. Let's figure out how we're gonna kick ass.
Okay, I'm gonna probably sort of message him discreetly with sort of what I've spotted and say maybe maybe let this be known to relevant people you think around this table should know it, that potentially if they decide not to join with us, it's more because they're just going to wait for what the aftermath is and stuff. And that might be important for us in working out what we can offer them or how far we may have to go if we want them on side as well. As well as looking at the fact that at the end of the day, even if anyone thinks, oh, we can potentially survive the Kelvins afterwards, we're then potentially facing the full force of the Infamous.
Okay. And Durlock, what do you want Taylor to do?
Well, first of all, I wanted to go over what are Starfleet regulations about following an investigation you were dismissed from.
What do you mean?
Well, I want to keep in touch with the current stages of the investigation, but not be a part of it. Just
okay.
find out what they know.
So you'll be able to, unless it's like Lasco died on the table, but you'll be able to basically read all the security reports. Like you still have your password to log into your computer. It's not like they're gonna revoke everything. They just want you to be on leave, on temporary leave, so that you don't actively. So like if they see a guy that looks like Jason Statham wearing civilian clothes, walking around with a tricorder, they're like, come on now, you're supposed to be on duty. So that's all that is. It's not anything. Like they're not being super picky.
So it's not like if I follow the investigation, they could get me in trouble.
Right, like if you actively followed it. Like you see so many cop shows where the guy's dismissed from being a cop, but then like he's like, well, I'll just do it on my own time. Police can't really do anything about it, but like it's kind of different here. Like if you're on vacation, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and with Starfleet it's different because even though they claim not to be, they are a military organization without a doubt.
Right, and you're not like dismissed from duty, you're on vacation. So as long as you just keep that in mind, it's fine.
Yeah, all I want to do is look at the file, and if I see something I want to know more about, I'll go talk to the person that filed that report. But all I'll do is ask questions. I won't suggest anything. I'll be very cautious about that.
Okay. So I'm gonna do a quick scene with River because I've got to jump for 10 minutes, take a 10-minute break after that. But I want to get him doing something before I do. So River, your shuttle is heading towards this supermassive black hole. You have just your ship is crumbling around you, and the scanner that is right in front of you basically indicates that there is a kind of like a some kind of door or something opening on the side of the Dyson sphere, and out comes a large, not Dyson large, but a lot larger than your ship, a large ship, and it is coming in your general direction, and your scans reveal what it looks like, and this is basically what it looks like. It's mechanical mostly. There are some fleshy appendages, but it is mostly mechanical, and it is about the size of a moon, several thousand miles, if I know my scale right, which I probably don't, but it's very large.
Well, that's not good.
No, it's not. Um, You're let's see. Roll reason science. Do an even more detailed scan of this situation. Not just the ship that's coming towards you, but just the situation in general. The sphere, everything. Difficulty will be 2, and I think you guys still have 5 momentum. All right, so you're reading a lot of like sensors on that ship. On this vessel here. There's a lot of sensor suites on it. There's a lot of like even the tentacle things have like little feelers on the end that you can tell as it's moving around. Kind of similar to the massive tentacles that are coming out of the sphere, kind of trying to aimlessly reach towards you. It looks like these tentacles are used. Both as a way of propulsion, but also as a way to like sense stuff around them. And this thing is definitely coming directly at you. If you had to guess, you would guess that this is what a Kelvin scout ship looks like. Now, what do you want to do next?
Well, I'm pretty sure this shuttle is how do I put this nicely? Fucked.
Yeah.
So I don't know what my options are. Do I have anything for the shuttle? Because I don't think I don't think pretending to be dead is going to work too well on
Well,
this.
there is one thing. But let me check your talents. But either way, as you get close, because your ship is being pulled by the energy of the black hole, so as you're moving faster and faster towards it, approaching light speed, basically, as you're getting closer, more sensor data keeps coming in, but it's a lot of data. I mean, you're near a supermassive black hole, and so there's a lot of other stellar phenomena that used to be around it that is kind of being dragged into it. So it's kind of hard to read it all. But one thing that does catch your eye is on the outside of the ring or of the sphere. You are detecting what looks to be a partially created, kind of in the final stages of manufacturing, of an artificial wormhole. So basically, your options are actually, you know what? Make an insight security roll real quick, and then you might have another option. But it looks like your options are Kelvin scout ship, artificial wormhole, or death. And then there might be a fourth one if depending on what your inside security tells you.
Oh, you mean my worst skills? Awesome.
Yes. Well, you just need one. As long as you don't get a complication and you get one. There you go. See, that's good. So as you're kind of like frantically trying to figure out what the hell to do, you happen to look down, and you're like, the console that you literally saw crumbling or around you is suddenly like back together, and the bulkhead that was starting to crack, because you're in a suit right now, right? If I remember correctly, you put on a suit.
Yes.
So like the bulkhead that was cracked is like you can see it kind of sealing back together, and you notice as you look down that the familiar sight of several thousand blue glowing nanites have escaped your little suit and repaired it, and then left your suit and moved on to start repairing the ship. However, at the rate that things are going, they're not going to get it in time. They're not going to be able to fix everything in time by the time you either hit the sphere or get trapped by the Kelvin ship. So you do have some more time, but not a lot to make a decision. There is
So
that
you said
wormhole.
you said there's a wormhole.
Yeah.
We're going to the wormhole. I
Well,
know I have a passenger, they get no say.
it's in the general direction. So like you're gonna have to try really really hard to steer that crumbling ship towards it. But you're a pilot, so hopefully I don't know what kind of talent. Maybe check your talent, see if you got anything that helps. But the
I got
difficulty.
pushed to limits, flyby.
What does that
Got a
do?
couple. I don't know.
I'm gonna look that up because it sounds like it should help. Because the difficulty is gonna be 5. You are flying towards a black hole after all. Let's see. Push. Where is it? Push the limits. When you attempt a contest that has increased difficulty to environmental conditions or damage to the engines, yes to both of those. Reduce the difficulty by 1 to a minimum. So yeah. So now it's a difficulty 4 because of that talent. So you might have other things that can reduce difficulty or give you more dice or something. Um,
There's momentum.
and also you have 5 momentum. And I have. Let's see. I used threat earlier, so I am down to 6.
What's flyby? Where do I look up this stuff again?
Just go to the. You know where the character generator is? I'll put a link in the chat, in the TIG chat. You just go there and it's like it says talents overview. Just click on that. I'm gonna look it up too because now I'm curious. Flyby. Whenever you use the swift task mode. Oh, I think that's to keep the initiative. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Anyway, I'm gonna run for 10 minutes. I will be back, and then either you can roll in that time, or roll after. Either way, I'll be right back.
Oh, don't forget we have momentum if you need to use momentum.
Is it most of the momentum? Wasn't that gained by me and you, Mac? During our roleplay?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hey.
Game is on 10-minute break.
Okay. Where are we at, anyhow?
We're doing a scene for Rivers. River.
The stabbing of him was an accident.
Once again, you bring up her son, and she kind of spins around and clenches her fist and stares at the wall away from you. And she says, "Yes, that is what I said. An accident."
Out of interest, was this accident something that occurred because you were not intending to stab him, or you were forced to?
He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I did what had to be. And then she stops herself and she shakes her head and she says, "It doesn't matter."
What do you mean he was at the wrong place and at the wrong time? As in, your meeting with my two esteemed colleagues, and I point with thumbs over both shoulders?
She turns around, faces you again. She says, "Ah, yes, that. If security hadn't been ramped up twice, once for the diplomatic summit, and then second because my own son decided to snitch on me for being here, then the meeting may have not have had to happen at all. We were simply trying to figure out our best way of." And then as she's talking, she just freezes and stares like more behind you than at you, and her eyes just like freeze open, and her mouth is hanging open. And then she stops talking and then turns away and she says, "Like I said, it doesn't matter."
I'm not going to have a tricord on me. That obviously I didn't go into that cell with one. Such, can I grab one from the table if I put it down?
Sure.
And such.
Yeah.
I want to do a quick scan because obviously it now looks like I've seen two people who seem to be interacting with visual stimuli that I cannot see. And I just want to run a scan for anything that could be visually hitting their visual cortexes that we can't observe and such, be it something going directly into their retinas or whatever and such.
So there's two things you could possibly scan for. Either there's something in the environment that you want to scan for, or there's something in them. Which one specifically?
I want to do environment first, just because that's going to be the least intrusive.
Okay. So that'll be reason science, difficulty 2.
Okay. I will buy 1 dice.
Okay.
And I don't think I've got any now. No focuses that could really apply.
All right, so you got it. You don't detect anything in the atmosphere or the environment that would contribute to some sort of hallucination or anything like that. So next, you want to move towards her?
Yes.
All right, that's going to be a reason science difficulty 3.
Okay. I'm going to buy 2 dice, but I will buy them with threat.
All right. So I am back up to 8 threat. Oh yes, I was gonna increase the complication range. You know what? Mr. Gakel sees what you're doing, and he's like, "That's a good idea," and he grabs a tricorder for an assist.
Okay.
What I say it was insight. Oh, reason science. Okay. It actually could have been multiple things, but since you already rolled it, I'll just go ahead and roll his insight. I'm gonna keep his. His insight science or his reason science is not gonna be good.
Hopefully, for the most fun, it'll be a complication.
Right. Well, he's got a focus, so that applies at least. Oh wow, he got it. So you're able, with your tricorders, you're kind of able to triangulate. There is something within her brain, and you're detecting some kind of, not subspace because it's not subspace, but it's another sub-dimension like subspace that connects whatever that is to something that is also within Ivan. and you can tell that there is a communications kind of system set up. So when he was reading the wall, he was reading a message, and she too is seeing things similar to that.
Okay. I'm going to turn to the security chief and just say to him, okay, we have a major security breach on this station now. We need to do something quickly.
All right, I'm going to jump from there to somewhere else because that's a good place for you guys to stew. All right, let's see. All right, there is an announcement. It says, the diplomacy conference will recommence in 20 minutes. I repeat, the diplomacy conference will recommence in 20 minutes. So I will ask everybody here, since everybody is involved in that mostly, do you want to just fast forward at 20 minutes, or do you want to continue role playing? And then once 20 minutes happens in real life, I will basically say, okay, stop what you're doing. Whoever has to be at the conference needs to stop whatever they're doing and go to the conference. That won't really obviously affect anyone who's not going to the conference, but for those of you who are, it would. So make a vote. Fast forward or just continue role playing until 20 minutes.
What about the same between Lasgo and his mom?
Well, she's still in the brig right now, so that's one of the reasons why I'm asking. Because if we just keep role playing in 20, until the 20 minutes happens, then it could be a potentiality that she's released or something, or maybe Lasco is allowed to go and see her in the brig. That's highly unlikely considering security protocol, but it is still possible. Whereas if we fast forward it, then that just takes away 20 minutes that could have been built up, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But the pro to fast forwarding at 20 minutes is that gives you guys more time to try to build this trait and gain allies in the diplomacy conference. So there's pros and cons to both.
Well, since Lasco is staying, since he's not able to move, I'll obviously stay with him in the infirmary.
Well, I will give you this bit of information since that might affect your decision. You have been asked to give a report at the conference about Lasco's condition.
Ah, I see. Yeah. Is that an order, though?
Well, when the admiral of Starfleet Security asks you to do something, and you're a lieutenant commander, I don't know how you want to. If you want to take that as a request, that's fine, but there may be consequences. Like you're not getting court-martialed or anything, but yeah, it's up to you.
All right. Well, okay, then I'll just look at the chief medical officer, and I'll tell him to basically, as long as Lasco stays here, he should stay here with whatever security he has, so that no other attempt is done against Lasco. And I will look at Eli and tell him to basically come join me at the conference, because we're gonna need witnesses, right? So he could be a good witness as well.
Well, that's the other thing. If you don't fast forward and you do the 20 minutes, then that will give Weber time to talk to you, the witnesses, before you have to present anything at the conference. And there's also the possibility of if Dr. Tall is at the conference giving this presentation, you could have the investigator, Mr. Weber, there with you to help. So, like I said, there's pros and cons to both, but it's up to you guys, because there's complete likelihood that Weber finishes everything in 20 minutes and interrogates everyone. Yeah, he just found out that there's a major security breach, but that doesn't really pertain to the actual investigation. So he could still lock down the base and then go to the conference and do everything like that. Or it may take him longer than 20 minutes to interrogate people and to ask questions of witnesses and things like that, and to look at the records and reports in the system. And maybe when you get there, then you don't have that assist because he's still doing that. So either way is likely. It's just a matter of if you got it's up to you which one you want to do.
Okay, what do you think, Weber?
I'm easy going. I'm I'm happy to continue. I mean, obviously, it makes as much sense if you wanted to do some stuff and then interact with whatever's happening there. But I'm happy to do whatever. I'm even happy if you want to continue something and don't involve either of my characters at the moment, because I've just done a huge chunk of role playing. I don't want to take it away from other people and
Yeah,
such.
yeah, I get you. Mac, what do you think?
Um. Well, I think it would be a good idea to if Doctor if Z's character is pretty much going to have to give a report on him, it would make more sense if Weber is there with him.
Okay, so if I'm reading that correctly, just continue for 20 minutes and giving you guys time for to investigate, and then have Weber show up for the assist, basically, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so I think that's probably the best way to go. So it's 7:26. I hate rounding. Okay, good. It just changed. So I'm gonna say at 7:50 for me, in about 20 minutes, is when the hard stop happens for whatever you guys are doing. Obviously, if there's something important going on, then that takes priority. But for I mean, the conference has to continue. So um, So that being said, I will jump to River real quick. River, you have been in this wormhole for what feels like an hour. Your chronometer tells you it's been like 5 minutes, maybe less. Um, but you can see the end of it. You can see the end of the the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. However, you remember like 45 minutes ago, you saw that light growing then too, and it somehow is still, it seems to be still in the same, distance. So it seems that having a wormhole near a black hole messes with time. Who would have knew? Um, but you do know that it's not much longer now before the shuttle comes out of this wormhole to wherever the destination is. Is there anything you want to do real quick before that happens?
Well, I don't think there's much I can do. Make sure my suit's nice and sealed.
Yeah, the nanites were kind enough to not completely rip a hole through your suit, so you got that going for you. Um, make an insight, science, or medicine roll. You'll probably go science, but yeah, make an insight, science, or medicine roll. The ship is still it's not falling apart as fast because you're not no longer in a black hole, or you're no longer going towards being pulled towards a black hole. You're just in a wormhole, and for the most part, that just means everything is kind of stable-ish, but it's still falling apart very slowly. And you also notice, as you look at a console, that it is reading one life sign on your shuttle.
Oh, that don't seem good. Uh, I'm assuming that's just me.
That would be a likely assumption. The scanners don't read your nanites.
Yeah. So I'm traveling with a dead body in the back. Is that what you're telling
That's what
me?
the scanner's telling you. Do you want to get up and go check? I mean, you're not really piloting anymore. The ship's just going forward.
Yeah, I'll go check. I'll be
Okay.
very cautious though.
Yeah, as you're walking, the ground like cracks and then really quickly heals back up. But then you get to this closet that you remember Trask was in, and you open it, and it looks like there's a gigantic bloody gash on the back of his head where it seems his head just was knocked right into the bulkhead. Yeah, and you can't really check for a pulse, being you're in a giant suit. If you want to grab a tricorder, you could do some scans though.
Yeah, I will. I'll do a tricorder and do some scans.
Okay. Reason medicine, difficulty 1. The tricorder says he's alive. No, I'm just kidding. Well, he's dead, so that's one thing you are able to figure out, but you're not able, and beyond the obvious bash in the head, you aren't able to determine any other injuries or anything like that. It seems like it's just the rocking of the ship and being torn apart and then put back together, and just everything that happened is basically just all of that happening at once just kind of ended up bludgeoning him to death in the back. There was obviously no inertial, or at least if there were inertial dampeners, they weren't doing very good. They weren't doing very well. So yeah, it looks like he's a goner.
So he wasn't buckled in?
I don't know. Did he say he was buckled in last time? Because I don't actually remember.
I think he was just like
in a closet,
standing
right?
up.
Yeah, I think he just jumped in a closet. But yeah, either way, he's definitely no longer in the land of the living.
Oh man, this is gonna be more paperwork. Okay. So that sucks. I guess I'll have to explain this when I get back. If I get back.
Make a fitness security check, difficulty 5. I'll say control too if you prefer. Control or fitness security, difficulty 5. You've got 2 momentum. I'm going to spend 1 threat to increase the complication range by 1.
I don't know if I should spend momentum.
I
Anyone?
mean, if you want to succeed in not being thrown around the shuttle, I would suggest it.
Yeah, I
Do
guess.
it.
I
Spend
guess
it.
I'll spend it.
Yeah, you got if you spend 2, then you'll have four dice. You also have your determination, which you haven't used in probably 3 years.
What is that? Determination. Holy crap. Throwing words at me like that?
So that's a critical success. It gives you a critical success. So that would be 2 successes. So what that would do is if you use it before, you can say you have your critical success if you have a value that applies. If you use it after, then you can re-roll your dice. I think there's another one, but I can't remember what it is. I think it's like it takes away an injury. Which if you don't re-roll or use as a critical success, you will definitely take an injury. So let me look at your values real quick. Something out there is calling big fan of living. I think you should use big fan of living. Yeah,
okay.
I would definitely re-roll that because only getting 2 out of 4, yeah, and maybe give me threat if you want an extra. I don't know. It's up to you, but yeah, I would re-roll that and.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll re-roll with determination. And what if I give you threat? What does that do?
It serves like momentum. It just gives you another dice.
Oh yeah, I'll do that too.
All right. So now you got 5 dice. And whoops, not 8 momentum. Ignore that. I'm up to 8 threat. That's what I meant. You're still at 0 momentum. All right. So go ahead and make your 5 dice roll. Your re-roll. That's better. 3, 4, 5. Because I was definitely gonna have you die and then come back to life with your nanites, but I don't have to do that now. 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, you get slammed all over the back of the shuttle as the shuttle comes out of this wormhole, and you can feel the natural you could feel because like at the moment when you're in the shuttle, gravity was, I mean, you still had gravity, but it was really really low because the shuttle was in really bad condition. But then once you somehow for some reason wherever you are, the gravity's a lot better. So you're either on a planet or you're in some sort of maybe a bigger ship or a space station or something where there's gravity, because you get thrown around and then you just hit the deck. You do not take any major damage. Like you get a few cuts and bruises, but your nanites immediately start to heal you. And then you look around and yeah, the ship is basically like in 3 or 4 different pieces, like 3 or 4 different big pieces. And it's just total darkness, and all you can hear is like sparks and things, smoke and explosions from where your ship crashed into wherever the hell you are. Is there anything you want to do real quick before we jump to the other guys?
Yeah, so it's total darkness.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. I guess I'll just, get down in the fetal position and hug my knees for a couple of seconds, and that's it.
All right. Um, so back on Zip, uh, whatever, on the base. Jita, you are approached by Luzas, the Vorta who's in charge of the Dominion. And where is Jita still in the conference room?
Yeah.
Okay. And this shouldn't, if you're worried about it, being another long stretch, I don't think it will. I guess it depends on, obviously the interaction between them. But she walks over to you. What does Jita do as she notices her walking towards her? And is Jita like out, away from the others, or is she like with a big group of people? Like, where's Jita in the grand scheme of things?
I think she's probably just sat down.
Okay, so she'll walk around Captain Crusher and the Breen Thought and walk over to you. And do you react or say anything before she gets to you, or as she gets to you, or is Jita just gonna wait for her to say something?
I'm just going to look up and smile.
Okay. She kind of shudders when you do that, and she tries to smile back, but then realizes she really doesn't want to smile, and she says, "There's something we must discuss in private."
Okay.
And she kind of glances over to like a corner and moves over there, hoping you kind of follow.
Yeah, I do.
All right, and just standing in a corner by herself now.
So and then we just mouth each other and do hand signals to communicate instead from across the room.
So when you walk over, she says, "You must be wondering why it seems I have betrayed the infamous power."
I have theories as to what your actions are, but if you wish to confirm whether I am correct or not, I'd greatly appreciate it.
It's about the Regent Dren. It's I only recently found out, and I'm sorry that well, he has his own time travelers out fighting the time travelers that Starfleet uses to kind of try to fix the timeline. And through this kind of subterfuge, a report was meant for the Citadel, your um, your institution, but it was sent to me instead. I'm guessing that this report was not supposed to be seen by you. And she hands you over a whatever the hell a Dominion data pad looks like, and on it
Yeah.
you see plans for Orion, slavery, and elimination of all males.
Okay.
And she says that's not the only thing. Regent Dren knows where the AI is for the Infamous, and he plans on destroying it so that he can claim to be the new version of the Infamous. That is why she kind of takes a step back and lowers her head in kind of like reverence. She says, "That is why I did what I did. I believe that in order for the Infamous power to survive," and her like mouth kind of quivers, like she's definitely afraid of what she's about to say. She says, "The Regent cannot survive."
Very quickly, just so I know context-wise, does Jida know where the AI is at the moment
No.
herself? I
In
can't
fact,
remember.
Regent Dren didn't even know until like recently, like within the last day or two. Like he was
Yeah.
actively searching for it, and he just found
Oh
it.
no, I wasn't asking that. It was just more along the lines of did she that because obviously she's been in essentially the same solar system as it at the same time, but I didn't know if she knew where it was and stuff like that. But yeah, no, that's fine.
No, Jita wasn't over there, was she?
She was in the same solar system, wasn't she? If I remember correctly, wasn't it the same games? Or am I confusing things?
I probably because the only game that he was in the one.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, I am confusing them. Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Yeah. So she and on the she tells Jita, you know, which solar system it was and the circumstances with Dren 92's AI and everything like that. And she says, if we can get the AI running, he will serve as the infamous in this universe, and he will have the command codes necessary to make the decisions. There will probably still be a civil war within the infamous power, but hopefully that won't happen until after we defeat the Kelvins.
How did you get hold of this? Obviously, you say that the information seems to have come to you by accident, but how do you think this happened?
Which part? The slavery of your planet or the
No.
traitor that is the
The
regent?
data being sent to you by accident.
Well, that was the Orion stuff. The regent being the traitor is something that I overheard, spoken only by one of his trusted, a changeling. If you know this changeling, he only has one changeling servant, but I believe she has been recently killed. Either way, I overheard her say it, and me being a Vorta, she obviously did not really care that I overheard it. So that is how I know what his true plans are.
Okay. Well, thank you for being honest with me. I want to do a read of her to make sure that
Yeah.
I think she's been honest with me.
Yeah.
Even though I'm saying I believe she's been honest, but depending how obviously this goes, obviously will be down to whether I'm actually telling the truth or not in how I react.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be Insight Command, and it's going to be contested. Or no, it'll be Insight Command for you, and then for her, it'll be Presence Command.
Okay. And
I'm going to spend Threat to get more dice, by the way.
Okay. Focus of reading people. And how much momentum? We've got 0 momentum left, haven't we,
Yep.
and stuff?
Yep.
So, you've done. You've bought 1 die, haven't you?
Yep, with 1 threat.
So I am going to buy 2 die with threat.
All right, so I'm up to 9 threat.
Yeah. So yeah, Insight and Command.
Nice. Boom. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so you got 1 more than her, so no momentum gained. Is that how it works, or do you get the momentum but you win? Either, I don't know. I'll give you the momentum.
So basically, if it goes over the contested,
right.
Whatever goes over
Whoever
can be momentum that I can either spend immediately, or
yeah, that makes sense.
Or for more information, or obviously can be pooled.
Okay.
Can you tell me? Do I read that she seems to be telling the truth first before I decide if I want to spend momentum now?
Yeah. She everything she said is reading true. I mean, obviously you can't verify like every single detail, but like she definitely believes everything she told you. But you can tell that she's not telling you everything. Which, to be fair, in this kind of atmosphere and in this kind of institution, that is not out of the ordinary. You can tell that she was trying to put on she was trying to look more supplicant and reverent than she actually is, not to trick you, but because she really wants you to know that whatever happens, she's on your side, but she's also on the Federation side. Like she's not going to betray the Federation for you, but she would betray the Regent for the Federation and for Jita. So basically, as long as Jita sides with the Federation in this treaty, she will side with Jita. And the Dominion is... So you remember in DS9 with the Dominion War with, the Breen, I mean, the Dominion almost had to have the Breen in order to even come close to winning the war.
Yeah.
So the Breen were